Would you say it's worthwhile for a new band to try and get a licensing deal?
Yes. Okay, licensing deals. So let's talk licensing deals. By the way, we're live on Instagram, we're live on Facebook. So if you are watching, you want to just get involved, or if you want to add something, then feel free. So we're going to talk about licensing deal, and is it worth a band going after a licensing deal? Before we do that, let's just talk about what is a licensing deal. So I was just chatting to Ed, who used to work for a licensing company. So a licensing or a sync deal is effectively between a band and a brand. So when you go and see an advert, when you go and see like the Samsung advert and you've got Royal Blood playing across it, that's basically a sync deal, and there'll be a middleman who organizes that. So the band won't go to Samsung and Samsung won't go to the band. Pretty much what will happen is there'll be a company in the middle, which will be a licensing company. Is it worth going after that licensing company? Well, yes, but the same way, is it worth going and trying to get a record deal? Is it trying to get a management deal? You know, these things are very difficult to do. If you land it, brilliant. Is it worth going after it? Well, we'll come back to that in a minute. So that is what is a licensing deal, and effectively you will be going to a company and trying to get your music on their library that they will start punting to brands to try and actually get that out there to then get paid to give you money. Now, if you're going to do that, most sync companies or licensing companies won't take unsolicited material. Now, by unsolicited, it means it needs to come through a reputable source. So, for example, a manager or a lawyer. Now, the good thing with going through a solicitor or a lawyer is you can just pay for that. You can pay for the services of a lawyer. It's not like a manager where you're trying to bring someone on who believes in you and push the band. A lawyer could be someone you just pay money and just say, look, you're there to represent us as the legals, effectively. So that would be solicited. Now, if you're doing that, a lot of sync companies may say, look, we'll try and get you some of your music onto some of these brands. We'll take a 50-50 split. Out of that 50-50, you'll literally get 50%, they'll get 50%, and that will be sort of non-exclusive. So you get to work with other publishing, other sync companies. So quite complicated. Now, is it worth it? Well, it depends. If you're looking at trying to get onto Nike or Coke, massive companies, very difficult. But don't forget, there's all different levels of companies, from the top to the bottom, from Stevie's Sausage Company up the road, right the way through to the biggest of the big, and Apple and Samsung. So every time you're getting your music on something, effectively that is a licensing deal. Is it worth doing? Yes. Is it worth going after? Now, this is the big question, because if you look at most of these licensing companies, these sync companies, they will still have all of the same doubts, all of the same fears as anyone else. Can you prove that you are actually doing the thing that everybody wants? i.e., are your socials still good? Are you getting people to turn up to your gigs? Have you got a product that people believe in? Because otherwise, they're putting your music onto something, and if they're not sure if this is going to work, or if they're putting it up for it, then they're going to be thinking to themselves, there's a million bands that I could put up for this. Why should I put your band up for it? So therefore, you still need to be working on the same stuff. You still need to be proving it to an audience. You still need to be putting it out there on your social media, building an audience, not just because you're building your own audience, because you're proving to yourself and to others that what you do works. So is it worth going after it? I wouldn't spend a lot of time, because it's the same thing as going after record deals. It's the same thing as going after management. Until you are self-managing and you can do this stuff yourself, effectively what you are doing is you are shouting into a void. And so what you need to do is prove it. You need to get yourself together, self-manage, build your audience, and say to the whole music industry and to everyone else, this is happening with or without you. And at that point, that's when people take notice, because when it is actually happening with or without them, it'll be with them, because they'll jump on board, and that's the way it works. So is it worth getting one? Absolutely. Is it worth prioritizing that? I'd say no. I'd say still the same stuff. It's still more about prioritizing you, your audience, the product, and making something which people believe in.